we sort of come up with some rough ideas and said that, you know, we're probably going to be better off starting afresh in the new year. Get the cheaper venues rather than these big expensive venues, and work our way up through that, like what I've done with my events group. Start with the smaller ones, and then to sort of keep building until you can get to these big expensive places. Because unless you've got the money behind you, it's just not worth it.
No.
So,
Ian, I'm going to ask you, how have you been this week?
Oh, fairly busy. You know, working for a school, you can't help but be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty quiet with the private cases at the moment, but got a couple of events coming up this month. So that will keep us busy.
Yeah.
Haven't you went there last night?
You've got no cases, so in one respect, but bad in another, because then you're not doing stuff. But it's good that it's settling down a little bit for people, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, our last case was quite successful, and we're going on an event, and the clients are actually coming with us. So,
good.
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 They were quite mind blown by the fact that after we cleared the place out, the guy had a conversation with his grandmother, who was residing there, and he was quite impressed by that. So they've decided they want to come ghost hunting.
Dan, how have you been?
Same as Tim, really. It's been washed out all week. Nothing but torrential rain. It's almost been biblical in proportions. So I've just been battering down the hatches and not doing anything really. It's been awful.
You've had floods in Hertfordshire as well, though, haven't you?
Yeah, half the roads seem to be underwater.
Yeah.
It's better with a boat than a car around here at the minute.
Well, it sounds like I've had more of an eventful week than everybody. Like, despite the weather, I climbed Mount Snowdon.
You did? How did you get on with that?
I had sunshine, showers, sleet, hailstones, and snow, and poor visibility, but I still did it.
That's mountains for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had real cold weather, and I was knocked down a couple of times, but got up, carried on. But yeah, I managed to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't rush to do it again so quickly, but I'm still recovering.
You can say you've done it though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you never do it again, you can say you've done it once.
Well, yeah. Well, we had a lovely time in Llanberis with the scenery and everything there. I managed to see the Sword of the Giants. So there was one landmark that I did get some good pictures of. Lots of sheep. And what shocked me was the crystals up on the mountain along the way. So there was lots of quartz and quartz with moss inside it. And there weren't just tiny little bits. There were great boulders of it. It was just looking like snow. I was like, wow, the size of that. If I could get that home, I would, you know. But
did you help yourself to any of the smaller crystals?
I got two tiny little bits. Two tiny little bits that happened just to see lying there, so I put them in my pocket. But
there you go.
But yeah, that was my week. So it's done. I've got the anniversary coming up this weekend, so we're off this weekend, a little bit busy, and then next week getting back into the ghost hunting and the cryptid side of things and the writing again. So it is going to be a busy time for me now until Christmas. I've got to get the book finished and published and ready to go out there. So yeah, and then I've got some other writing that will be happening. So there is a lot going on. So,
good.
Yes. So tonight, guys, we're talking about ghost ships. Who wants to start? Who wants to start the conversation?
Well, I don't know a lot about ghost ships, but I've been looking at videos all afternoon because it's pouring rain and I've been able to go out, and especially the Queen Mary. Oh my God, the Queen Mary in which is in California now.
It's infested with spirits, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I spent about 4 or 5 hours watching these videos with like amazing sightings and such. So I'm going to carry on. I don't know a lot about ghost ships, but I'm going to carry on looking at that because it, especially around the swimming pool area, apparently, or what used to be the swimming pool area. Yeah.
There's a woman in a bikini there, isn't there? Like from the 1930s or 40s, I reckon. Yeah. She's off.
Isn't that what they based the film on? Ghost Ship on the Queen Mary, because it was around the pool area, wasn't it?
I also watched just a normal normal documentary about it, and what a beautiful ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, the architecture in there and such, just gorgeous. But yeah, I shall carry on looking, and intrigued by that. I wish it was in England so I could go or the UK and go and see it here. I don't think I'll ever get to California.
Well, you never.
I was going to say that's one of those things where if you did an American paranormal road trip, that's one of the places that has to go on the list.
It would definitely. You can stay on it, can't you?
Yeah.
Stay on it. It's very expensive. It's very expensive, but you can actually stay on there. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend Dale Makin, who used to run Paranormal Truth, he actually he works in IT, and he had to go and train a team in California. So he booked for a night. This was 6-7 years ago. He booked the whole ship to himself, cost him £6,000.
What?
So it was just him and the 2 security guards, and he live fed from there all night. And, he was down in the engine room, just sitting there talking on camera. Yeah, somebody walking around with keys jangling on their belt, and there was
bloody hell.
But he stayed in one of the most haunted rooms, but he was cheesed off because nothing happened in there. But he was down by the door. The guy got crushed, and you can hear on the audio someone shouting, "Help me!"
Oh, yeah, I saw that story about the fellow who tried to get through the door or something, and it shut on him and crushed him, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think the thing about that ship as well is that it was known for bringing troops back from war zones, wasn't it, during World War II?
Yeah.
So a lot of troops actually passed away while they were injured. So they passed away on the ship itself. So probably got that on there as well, isn't it?
They also had German prisoners as well on it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah,
beautiful ship, beautiful.
Yeah. It's really like a hotel inside, isn't it? Which is probably why you use it for one. So, exquisite.
It's probably better off in America than it is here. You'd only got a rot here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, or they'd stick immigrants on them.
It's a bit drier in California.
Sorry, did I say that? Sorry.
We didn't hear.
It's very, to look at it, looks very much like the Titanic.
Yeah, very similar style.
Yeah.
Isn't it smaller?
Yeah, it's a bit bigger than the Titanic, apparently.
Oh, is it?
A bit longer. But
it's amazing. You look at them as gigantic, then you look at the ones now, and they're like little diddly things, aren't they, compared to the ones?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're like the ones now. Like go up, don't they? They're like
tower blocks,
hundreds of decks. Yeah,
they got a bloody town in the middle of them.
Yeah.
10 cinemas and all that nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wayne, have you thought of any more ships at all?
Well, I mean, 2 come to mind, and they're probably the most famous of ghost ships.
Go on then.
And the first one is the Flying Dutchman.
Woo! I saw that one. Yes.
You know, it's probably the most iconic ghost ship in maritime culture. So it tells of the haunted ship that's unable to make port and is cursed to sail the seas forevermore. The fable of the Dutchman of War ship first appeared in the 17th century. It was supposed the captain of the ghost ship was apparently inspired by stories of Baron Fock, whose exceptionally fast trips from Netherlands to Java were presumed to be aided by the devil. Sightings of the phantom ship, which apparently occur in bad weather, are supposed to be bad omens for those who pass her. The most famous report of the Flying Dutchman was by King George V, who apparently saw her all aglow along the coast of Australia as they were sailing in the Bass Strait. The ship has become a famous trope in literature, art, and movies since. She inspired Richard Wagner's opera of the same name. The more recently made an appearance in the 2006 film Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Ah,
So, and she's literally, she's an old a galleon, isn't she? A Dutch galleon.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest, if you were on one of these massive cruise ships and you saw that coming towards you, I don't think I'd want to be. I think I'd be hiding away in the middle of the ship somewhere rather than watching it coming towards me. And I think the other one as well was the Mary Celeste.
Yes.
yeah.
Has been classed as a ghost ship. And obviously, when people found her, the actual crew nowhere to be seen. There was food and stuff still on the table.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what happened with Captain Briggs of the ship, his wife or his children. And I had a crew of 7, and all had disappeared.
What I found really fascinating about the Mary Celeste was it was built in 1861, but when it was built, it was given a different name. It was called the Amazon. So where did the name the Mary Celeste come from?
Mm.
And why does the ship, isn't it unlucky to rename a ship?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what you'll find with shipping companies, especially around that time, is they were a little bit nefarious in the way that they used to name things. So they would name a ship under 2 names or a name under 1 name. It's all about tax evasion. So, for example, the Titanic, they don't think was the Titanic. They think it was the sister ship, but they renamed the Titanic something entirely different. So that was a way of doing the old switcheroo. It's insurance. And the Titanic that was sent out was a bit of a crap ship anyway. And they knew that they knew that something bad was going to happen to it, but they were quite happy to do that so that they could claim the insurance money back on it.
Yeah.
So there's lots of them like that.
Bloody hell.
The sister ship had a crash at sea with an American frigate, didn't it?
Wasn't that the Olympic?
The Olympia, yeah. And it was in dry dock at the same time they were building the Titanic, so they could have easily.
But you'd never know. It was so many nefarious sleights of hand as far as shipping was concerned.
Yeah.
In those days.
I think it was the White Star Line, weren't they? I think they were having a few financial difficulties, and apparently there were a lot of well-known rich people on the Titanic, or on the original one, because they had noticed, like you say, Dan, that one of the telltale signs was the propellers. They noticed there was an extra propeller there that wasn't on the original Titanic before they changed the names over.
Yeah.
So they said that there's something wrong with that. There was something wrong with the fore section right at the front. That there was something wrong with that.
Nico makes a good comment there, because when I was in Belfast, they all talk in where they built the thing and where they launched her.
Harland and Wolff, wasn't it? Harland and Wolff.
Harland and Wolff. They talk about the fire that broke out on Titanic. So she was already weak before she even went anywhere because of the great big fire that they had on board. But no one ever talks about that, do they?
It just so happens that the Olympia, when it crashed at sea with the American frigate, the damage was down the same side.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it
That's a bit spooky, isn't it?
Tore a big strip at the side of the ship.
I think you'll probably find if they dig deep enough, they'll probably find out that that's been that's been all dodgy stuff been pulled there.
Yeah.
All dodgy stuff.
I think as well, what makes it worse is that there's that Chinese company that's building a Titanic too.
Yeah.
Only they've double skinned the hull on this one.
Would you go on it? Would you go on it?
They've done it. They've done it in a 3D printer, haven't they?
Yeah. I think if I had the money, I probably would go on it. So I think
It's not
it's.
called the Titanic anymore. It's called the It No Float.
I think
Lego.
they
Still
would
a
have learned
Lego.
from their lessons. They would have learned from their lessons. They took too many shortcuts with the original one. They knew there wasn't enough lifeboats for the amount of people that were on board. They're going to make sure, because of safety standards, they won't be able to get away with only putting enough lifeboats on for half the
But then
passengers.
there's other things that can go wrong. I mean, look at Zeebrugge. You'd thought that people
Yeah.
would have learned from, and that it still happened.
Yeah.
I just don't like boats.
Well, there was the Italian ship, wasn't there? The Italian cruise liner, and that weren't far off ashore when it capsized. So, you know, these things are going to happen. But the way I see it, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You know, I just do my best to make sure me and my family are out and help other people where needed, and that's it. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's outside our control, isn't it, really?
What about you, Ian? Have you thought of any ghost ships? Not shits, but ships.
Shit. Well, not so much ghost ships, but the ones at Chatham Dog have definitely got something on them. Well, there's 2 ships and a submarine there, isn't there?
Yeah.
What we got? HMS Garnet, which is the old schooner. You can sense something on that when you stand on deck. And the HMS Cavalier, I was in there, and the old telephones were ringing, yet they're not connected.
I've had that. That's weird when that happens. Did you answer it?
I did,
Did you
and there was nothing. Yeah, absolutely dead. Right up. So, yeah, I mean, plus the whole dockyard's supposed to be haunted as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
When I was the first to join the Navy, I got stationed at a place called Devonport, and that was meant to be haunted. We never saw or experienced anything there, but it was bloody creepy. But the weird thing was, I didn't find out until I got leave, and my mum said, "Where were you based?" So I was based at Devonport. It's where her dad was based. My grandfather was based during World War One. So that was quite interesting. But there was said to be things going on there, and a lot of people had spoken about hauntings and stuff. But well, hi Chantel, but nothing. I never experienced or saw anything.
Yeah. Right. So where we got to? You, Mr. Winter.
Yeah,
Mr. Winter.
Do you know any of any haunted ships that you would want to mention?
no, I mean my family. Believe it or not, my family have been Royal Navy for at least 500 years, long time. And I've heard stories from my mum about a lot of her family and stuff, and experiences that they'd had, and different customs and stuff that they would adhere to back in the day. But yeah, no, I've not really experienced. I've not in my days. There was nothing that were pretty new anyway. A lot of them. So, but there was nothing untoward, really.
Well,
As I say, a lot of the barracks and stuff were purported to be haunted, but I never experienced anything in any of the land barracks.
I want to mention a ghost ship, and this is one that I think gets overlooked, but it's not haunted in the way that you guys think. This ship is supposed to reanimate itself once a year, and that ship is at Sutton Hoo, and it's a Viking ship.
Oh yeah.
And I was lucky enough a couple of years ago to go to Sutton Hoo to see the hoard, the treasures. They brought them back from the British Museum to Sutton Hoo, and they put them on display. So off I trotted to go and see what it was all about. The ship is not that big. When you think about one of those long, what would you call them? The longboats.
Longboats.
It was bigger. It's bigger in size than the other longboats that were around because it was the King's ship. I saw the mound in which it was buried under. The mound, they've marked it all out. It's all an amazing place to go and see. And you've got a tower there that you can go up and climb and look down on where all these things were found. But at Sutton Hoo, the actual ship, it's said once a year, don't ask me when because I couldn't find out the date, but once a year, when you're there at the right time and conditions are right, you can see the ship reanimates itself and it sits on top of the hill. You can physically see it. There's been lots of stories written about that in itself, But I found that absolutely fascinating. The fact that something as old as that is said to reanimate itself. It's part of British history where I'm going to say we were invaded by the Vikings. They were every bloody where. But yeah, this thing has just stood to the test of time and still tells a story even to this day. Not just about the Viking king himself and his treasures, but of the actual ship that keeps doing that. And there was a lovely thing on Netflix about the dig at Sutton Hoo, so it gives you a little bit of a backstory if you want to watch a nice film. It was okay to watch. I would recommend that. But Sutton Hoo and the Viking ghost ship, that's my first one. But the second one I thought of was the SS Nomadic, which is in dry dock at Belfast, Harland and Wolff. And the SS Nomadic ferried passengers from the dock to the Titanic herself, and then they boarded the ship from there. And it was used in one of the other docks as well. But SS Nomadic is very beautiful, very pretty in size and of its age. The decor hasn't been changed at all. I did speak to staff there when I went to go and visit the SS Nomadic, and as soon as I walked on, I turned around and I said to my husband, this ship's haunted. And he went, how do you know? I said, I know. I said, I can feel it. I can see it. I said, there's things going off. I said, not just one, but there's a few people that come and revisit this ship. Anyway, there was this guy that worked on the ship, heard me saying that, and he said, Madam, you're right. He said, this is haunted and we do ghost hunts here. He said, so if you ever want to do a ghost hunt, just email us and let us know and we'll sort something out for you. And I thought, wow. I mean, it was, to me, it was a big enough ship. It was not as big as Titanic by no feet, but I thought it was very pretty, and I'm glad that I went and saw that. So if you're ever in Belfast and you're looking for a place to go and investigate, look at the SS Nomadic. It's full of history and very much attached to the Titanic herself. But there was one more that I want to talk about, which comes with me from childhood, and that's HMS Belfast. And I've been on HMS Belfast so many times, and it's a floating museum, but she's ready to go if she needs, if she's called into action, she's ready to go. But as from a small child, I was taken on HMS Belfast before we went to visit the London dungeons, which I refused to go in as a child. But I remember seeing a very strange looking man on the HMS Belfast, and I held on to my mum so tightly. She said, what's the matter with you? Get off me, you know. So that strange man keeps looking at me, Mum. There's no one there, you know. I got all that.
Wow.
And then years later, going back on HMS Belfast and getting exactly the same feelings. I didn't see the man, but all those years, I'll never forget that sensation that I had on there.
Wow.
I don't know for certain, written down anywhere, it's never been corroborated whether HMS Belfast is haunted, but I know personally from the experiences that I had on HMS Belfast that it is. It's very hard to go on there. They won't allow ghost hunts, but if you ever can do a little mini hunt of your own while you go and visit out of season, I would suggest go and do it. You won't
just walk around with a K2 meter in your pocket.
Yeah.
I'm just looking in my pocket for something. That's all right. Yeah, no, there's nothing here.
That is purportedly haunted, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's stationed, it sits right opposite the Tower of London, really.
Hazel's great uncle served on that during the World War II.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he served on that during World War II.
It just, that ship for me, every time I go to, you walk down a little sort of walkway thing to get on top of it, to get on it. And as soon as I get on it, I get that foreboding feeling before I even step through the door. It's just, ooh.
I have heard stories where people have said that, you know, because they set the guns off, don't they, at a certain time?
I don't know.
they fire one of the guns. I think like they used to with the cannons on the walls of the castle. They set the cannon off at 1 o'clock or something. I'm sure they used to do a blank fire of the guns on the Belfast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there have been reports of the guns or the sound of the guns firing, even though they haven't been fired.
Wow. Wow. I did find when I was doing some I was looking for some haunted ghost ships, and I found some that were more sort of nearer to our time. And there was one in Australia. Here it is. It's called the Cas 2. A more recent tale of concerns the catamaran. It's a catamaran, Cas 2, which was found deserted off the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It was seen drifting by a helicopter on April the 18th in 2007. A few days after, they found everything was normal. Again, everything was normal. No food, no crew, but food and drink, and everything was just as you would expect to see it. So if it had run into difficulties or bad weather, the food and the drink and everything would be all over the place. But no, it was fine. But conspiracy theories are out there saying that the three men were experienced sailors in their 50s and 60s, that there was pirates that come and took them, and there's all sorts of things flying around there. But they say that the three friends are drowned after falling overboard, but as a result of their lack of nautical experience. But nobody ever got to the truth about it. But that was another one very similar to the Mary Celeste, but it was a catamaran, and not an actual boat. But I thought that was quite interesting.
You would have thought if it was pirates, you would have thought there'd be money in that boat, and they would have towed it back to port, given it a new name or whatever, and changed its appearance slightly, and done what they needed to do, and then sell the catamaran on. You wouldn't have left it adrift, would you, if you were a pirate?
I don't know. I just think the whole sea thing for me is very strange, because there are lots of sea creatures there that we don't know about. Still, they're coming up. Large fish, octopi. Is that the right word?
Yeah, octopi, yeah.
Giant octopi. I mean, you saw it especially in Norse mythology, of giant octopi. Yeah, on the boats, and why can't that happen now? Because we're messing with the earth in so many ways that are not good for us. It's to our detriment, to be honest.
I think these things have always been happening. I think that social media has it's put it into everybody's home, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's been going on forever, these sort of things. It's like the Hollywood thing with the Bermuda Triangle and that. I mean, you would think there'd be more sightings of spirit ghost ships and what have you there, wouldn't you? But I don't know. But then again, it might be like walking down the road. You might be looking at the spirits and not realise they're spirits. Maybe people are seeing ghost ships and not realising what they are. You know? I mean, if I was on the seas and I saw something like a clipper, from the 19th century, I would look at it and think, oh, somebody's doing a hobby or something.
Yeah, renovated it up. Yeah.
Yeah, you would automatically think, oh, it's a ghost ship.
Yeah. There's also that thing about just recently, I think it was last week I read it, they found some of the fragments of Amelia Earhart's plane.
Yeah.
And because the technology today has moved on, they were able to pick up more pieces, and they're now analysing it to see if it actually is her plane, which I think is absolutely fascinating, which then sort of stops this myth that she just disappeared. Of course you don't just disappear. Something's happened.
That came out the other day. Did you see it in the paper? It was on the news as well. Well, it was on sort of not one of the mainstream media news, but it was on one of the news. But it was in the Sun and that, I think. Scientists have now declared that they believe to be another dimension after death.
Haven't they said that before?
That's like people kind of knew that anyway.
Yeah.
They were the ones who wouldn't listen.
We wouldn't have been doing this for years if we didn't know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Dan, they're years behind us.
They
Yeah.
are. They literally are.
Yeah.
Right, let's go
So
to
now-
some comments.
So now we can take off our little tinfoil hats and go, ha ha, we told you
Told
that.
Ah!
Told you. Oh,
Catherine
what's the
wants to tell
story?
us a story. Hello,
Yay,
Danny
it's my
boy.
sister.
Sticking with the subject, I
Subject.
wonder if the Titanic is actually haunted. Do you think the Titanic is actually haunted?
Yeah, but how would you investigate?
Yeah.
You'd have to go down in one of
Certainly
them
wouldn't be going down in a
submersibles.
submarine.
No,
No, no.
certainly not. Be safer in a plastic bag, I think.
Nice. It would, yeah.
Two things you don't do. You don't
Number
do.
one is go alone.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it's a posh hotel, isn't it?
not really. Not the
Oh,
eight.
God.
No. Yeah, exactly, Catherine. Di cappuccino.
Yeah, in Roseland.
Decappuccino.
I love that. What's this?
Yeah, me too.
One-eyed Willy Ship.
Oh, brilliant film.
I never seen that.
Oh, you've got to watch the Goonies, Viv.
It's great, Viv.
No.
Coffee bloke Leonardo DiCappuccino is rich. He is rich.
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
Oh, here we go.
Go on, you read it, Dan.
So a few years ago, there was a sailboat that showed up in the Gulf of Mexico. It ended up running aground on a beach in Florida. Everything was still operational, but a total of 6 bodies were found on board, including a dog. All the bodies were mummified. Bloody hell, how long have they been on there? The captain was still at his desk with... Oh, I saw this. Yes, the captain was still at his desk with a pen in his hand, and his last entry was something like, "Nobody's getting our messages. It's only me now. Tell my wife I love her. I'm sorry." And it stopped
Yeah.
there. Yes, I saw photos of him. He's completely mummified, sitting at the desk.
Yeah, it was something to do with the salty, humid conditions mummified the bodies.
That probably sounds about right. Sounds about right. Especially in that climate. Well, I would. I don't remember that one.
They
No.
did that on EastEnders, didn't they?
EastEnders.
I think they did. There was
Oh, that was the what you call it, wasn't it? That was like a narrowboat.
Sharon's boy drowned, didn't he, or
That was a
something?
narrowboat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drowned in 4 foot of water.
It's
I've
the
no
Eldridge.
idea.
Not heard of that one.
Neither have I.
I know one I have heard a lot of people talk about, and that's when they say about they see a lot of ghost ships, only they don't realise it's the what they call it, the Fata Morgana.
What's that?
That's a superior mirage, but what it is, it's
Oh.
where the weather conditions are at a certain degree where there's a false horizon.
Yeah.
And the sun's
seen that.
reflecting off the water, which has created a small gap between the actual horizon where the ship is, and then there's another one a little bit further below it, but it looks like the ship is floating in the air.
You also get the cities, don't you? Cities in the sky above the
Yes.
sea. It's the same
Yep.
thing, isn't it? But it's a reflection of the
But people are convinced they're ghost ships, and you're like, no, they're not. They're Fata Morganas.
Yeah.
So we were on parts of a plane about a year ago, I think. Yeah,
Oh, he's talking about
the
Amelia.
Japanese got hold of her at one point, didn't they?
Yeah. William, I bet it didn't cost you $6,000.
No, that was a whole ship, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, ship, yeah.
Hi, Rita.
Hello,
Rita. I wonder if she's in the kitchen, Dan.
Bound to be, mate. Tim, you know where
Yeah.
he keeps her, and it's always the kitchen. I had a theory. It's believed humans are genetically altered to speed our evolution by the Anunnaki for use as slaves. The hominids left with they got it wrong with me, haven't they? I've been the shittest slave going. The hominids evolved naturally are actually the Bigfoot species.
This is
Ooh,
an image that started the
that's
old
good.
ghost ship Fata Morgana business. I mean, you can,
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you can see
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like 2 horizon lines that make it look as if it's floating.
It's cool, that, though, isn't it? It's really cool.
Yeah.
Eldridge was the Philadelphia.
Ah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I read something about
Oh.
that recently. It was it's worse than you think.
Yeah, nasty stuff went on with that.
Proper nasty stuff.
Yeah, because it was all linked to other experiments as well.
But
William
they
paid
can't replicate it,
$150.
That's not bad. That's not bad. What I understand by that is that on the evolutionary scale, any hominid left unaltered genetically is in that phase of the evolutionary scale only. So if you ain't Bigfoot, you're actually an alien. I don't believe they could genetically alter anything. I mean, if they have, look at I'll be the shittest genetically altered thing that. Even I can see that I'll be the
Eric's
shittest
got the
genetically
old
altered
look.
thing.
No, I'm the one in the damn kitchen.
All they did for you, Dan, was shave you.
Yeah, I might be a Bigfoot, mightn't I?
Well, she should come and say hello, and then we'll believe it.
So that's the horizon line is because Walter has a meniscus primary school science. Oh, look at you, Miss Clever Knickers.
Oh, no, look at that.
The USS Alabama is haunted after Cretina. It's at a 45-degree angle and can't be corrected. But the newest death was a porterhead that went to rescue the ship off the storm but fell between the ship. Oh, what a death. Poor sod. And the steel program was crushed at that exact wrong side. Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ow.
Poor fella.
There's lots and lots of stories about ghost ships from all over the world. I mean, I read some about Japan, Japanese ships, and you've got the Bermuda Triangle and the stuff off the they're just everywhere. So you don't know what to believe, do you? Until you, I suppose, go and experience it yourself.
No.
I mean, even if you stand near one, like go and see the Mary Rose, surely that's got something.
That'd be cool to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be.
What about
amazing to see.
What about the Cottage Sark? Has that got anything?
Who's that? I mean, did you forget that?
Cottage Sark.
Madam Clever Knickers for you, me then.
My aunt went and did she did waitressing on the Cutty Sark when they went and sailed round somewhere. And I mean, she's a bit of an idiot, my aunt, to be quite honest, but she never ever mentioned anything.
No.
Cutty Sark. But then would she be sensitive enough to feel it? I don't know. I don't think she. But it doesn't mean to say that it isn't. You might go on there and think, oh, blimey.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's one of those situations, isn't it, where you can go on it one day and nothing happens, and then you could go on it 2 days later and it all hell breaks loose.
Exactly that.
Exactly. That happens a lot. Yeah, that happens a lot where I go. Yeah,
it does.
I mean, I was lucky enough to investigate an old Dutch sea clipper that was used in the Second World War to ferry Jews to safe haven from, I can't remember where it was now, from Holland to somewhere else. And that actual ship itself was extremely haunted because there were areas on the ship where they hid the Jews, and subsequently some of them died through just not being able to get out and eat. 2 guys went overboard, and in 1984 somebody fell from the top mast and landed on the outer top deck. But the most serious haunting that happened there was when the owner at the time took her out. He used to take her out to sea for her yearly MOT checks, if you like. And he took her out to sea, and it was a bit rough this particular day. And he said that he saw the image of his father out on the water asking him to jump and come and join him, wanted him to sort of commit suicide, basically.
Bloody hell.
Like, yeah, and it happened twice. And when he was in his cabin, his wife had seen the hand of an older person sort of reach across them both while they were asleep. Well, lying in bed. He was asleep, but again, like an older person. Could it have been his father? I don't know.
Yeah.
And is that haunting relating to him and not the boat? You know, what the hell is that about? But that was an interesting ship. It was called the Albatross, and it was moored at where was it? Up near the Norfolk coast somewhere. I can't remember now. I've gone blank. But
Was it Yarmouth? Mate?
No, it wasn't Yarmouth. It was Wales, next to the sea. Yeah,
because you had activity on that boat, didn't you? Both you and
we had
Neri.
activity, some to the point where it was funny. I'm as bad as bloody Jamie, if the truth be told. We found a part of the boat that we didn't know existed, which is at the front end. I don't know the technical name for it. So we was at the front end of the boat, and we opened this hatch. It's like, oh, this ladder down here. Should we go down the ladder and see where we end up? So we did. And then we was on a part of the boat that none of the rest of the team didn't know was there. So we thought, we spend 10 minutes in here and investigate. And so we climbed down this ladder. We found these bunk beds down there, these 3 rooms and a little sort of area that leads off into each room. Bunk beds, lovely. So we found a bed that we sat on, and we were calling out. We heard voices, and we saw the outline of a person. Oh my God, it was so funny. I laugh about it now, but it shit myself at the time. He walked across the doorway. Now, you have to come down those ladders to be in there, and nobody followed us. There was nobody in there, didn't even know we were there. We see this guy who was tall, walk straight up. That was it. I shit myself. My friend Neri, she shit herself. She chucked her K2 at the thing to see if it would set it off. Nothing happened. She just damaged her K2. And I'm saying, like, Neri, you do realise we've got to walk through there to get out. Yeah, be all right. Just give him 5 minutes to do what he needs to do and go. Yeah, be all right. No, we were both absolutely shitting a brick because we'd have to walk through that door and up that. I'll tell you what, we got up that ladder pretty sharpish. It was the scariest thing ever, but yeah. I can't explain it. Neri can't explain it. The fact that 2 of us saw it, and Neri is as psychic as a brick. So the fact that we both saw it at the same time, yeah, and it did put the willies up us, I must admit. So, yeah. And then I've never seen anything like that on a ship again since. Not like that. Can't explain it. We don't know who he was, what he was doing, why he was there. And yet he rented those rooms out for people to go sleep there.
Wow.
Yeah. But no. That was my investigation of a sea clipper. It did have history to it. We were hoping to get, communication with some of the Jews that passed away, but we never did. We tried to investigate the other bits. We did a Ouija board in the captain's bedroom, and believe it or not, the hits on the Ouija board, to us it was coming out with gobbledygook, but we wrote it all down, stuff that didn't make sense. When we gave it to the owner, it was Dutch words. It was spelling out that we obviously didn't know. And he said, yeah, this means this and this means this. And yeah, it was a phenomenal place to go and investigate. And we were lucky to be able to do it, to be fair.
Blimey.
Yeah. Never. Just because you don't understand something on the Ouija board, if that's what you use, never dismiss it. Write it down and give it to the people. Yeah, because it might mean something to them, or even put a voice recorder next to it, because where you might not understand what's being said, you might catch it on an EVP. There's yeah.
Yeah,
There
we
was a
always have
lot.
a scribe with us that writes all the letters down and numbers and that as they're being called out. So
Yeah,
you can then look back. So if there's a word there that doesn't make sense, it may not necessarily mean that it's not actually giving you a word. It could mean a number of things. The spirit, oddly enough, could have been dyslexic and not necessarily known how to spell,
yeah,
but it may give you the word phonetically,
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
sounds.
So,
So it's a case of writing it down and then looking back at it and going, okay, so it could be this or it could be that.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
weird.
me and
It's just
Dan,
checking up on it.
had that experience where the planchette was moving on its own, and
That
I
was at the-
wish
that was at the what do you call it? Wasn't it? That was at the Kelvin and Hatch.
yeah, I wish I had a voice recorder recording what we were doing at the time, because when this thing was moving on its own, and I was just sitting there looking at it, watching Dan, and then Dan said, "Are you moving that, Viv?" I said, "Open your eyes and just look down." And he did, and he shit himself. That's it. Put it
moving
away.
itself. It's the only time I've ever experienced anything that I could class as unknown or paranormal or spiritual or whatever through a Ouija board. Never ever had an experience with one before. And I used to think, these are a load of old shit. What a load of old nonsense these are. And then that day made me completely change, do a complete turnabout on it and think, you know what? I'm not judging it again, because there's clearly something going on with these things.
I think you have to trust the people you're doing it with, 100%.
We weren't doing it though. Well,
Where's he gone?
Oh,
Say that again, Dan.
I said we weren't even doing it. It was doing it by itself. It's weird as anything, wasn't it?
It was. Do you do Ouija boards, Ian?
On occasion, yeah. I have done on events, but as with everything, it's intent, isn't it? So I'm not bothered about them. Different to my experiences as a teenager, but yeah, my two school friends still remember that to this day. But especially after my wardrobe door came off and snapped over my mate's head. But there you go.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, was you messing about with it on the Ouija board?
Yeah, I made one out of an old cereal packet, and we had a plastic cup. And you know how you're teenagers, and you're like, "Come on, then we got ghosts in the house. Come on and talk to us." Like that. We were messing around, and I said, "Come on, someone speak to us now. Prove to us you're here." And the cup flew across the room, and then my wardrobe door come off and snapped over my mate's head, and we just legged it out of the room.
Do you know what? It's weird you say that, because my mate did one at school. And he did. Well, he wasn't really a mate of mine. His brother was my mate, but he was doing one at school, and they used to go and they used to tuck themselves under the like it was a science block. It was a TD block, and they tucked themselves under the stairs where it was dark and you couldn't see anything. And he said, it was made out of something like a bit of old cardboard that they'd done it on, and they used a plastic cup beaker from the school, and they were mucking around with it, kept mucking around with it. Nothing happened. Went on for a few weeks. Then one day they came out screaming. And this kid came out and his face was all split. And what happened is this cup had just shattered and taken off and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Didn't ever fuck about with one again, I'll tell you that. They didn't mess around.
No.
I never went near one until I was about in my 40s, I think. After that.
Yeah, not surprised.
But,
Be enough to scare you, wouldn't it?
my mates were like, "Oh, that was crazy. At least we're out of there." I said, "I've got to sleep in here tonight."
It's my house.
Yeah. Tim, Lorna wants to know, where is it? Oh no, it's Sarah that wants to know, will there be a Halloween special show? Is this on a Thursday?
Yeah, we could do, yeah.
That'd be a good one, yeah.
Yeah, on the weird.
So you're not
room,
going out trick or treating then, Tim?
Well, no, I might do. And put my waders on and get out there.
And what we can get to do is donate money to us so we can go and buy sweets for it, because we're giving up our Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on a Thursday this year. So next year it'll be you doing the special, I suppose.
I know I've got a party to go to, but I don't think it's actually on the Thursday. I think it might be the Saturday after, but I'll see.
God, I've not been to a Halloween party for
I
years.
love the
They're right,
week. I got mine eared up, set up permanent in the room.
Yeah, I'll be down to True Crime again that weekend. So.
Oh, are you?
Oh,
Yeah. We're going to have to arrange a Simply Spooky meetup at some point for
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah,
So we're
Christmas
gonna have to
party as well,
Bring it
maybe.
into
I think we
bring
should
it
make
into the middle.
we should make a sort of fancy dress.
Fancy dress?
Yeah.
No. I did fancy
Yeah.
dress last year. I was the only one that did it.
You're the only one that went.
Oh, on the show. On the show.
Think we should all dress as Harry Potter. You think I'm freaking dressing up as Hagrid? I'm going to be making people shit and piss themselves all this month.
Lovely. Lovely, Catherine.
Meet up at the Skirrid.
Oh, yeah. Abergavenny.
That'll be the skid marking by the time we
You know
finish.
what? I didn't really rate the Skirrid.
Oh,
Not for the history, not for the ghosts, for the cleanliness. I didn't think it was all that, to be honest.
Well, you've always said to me you didn't really like the Welsh.
they are a funny lot. I've lived there.
I do like the Welsh. Get off.
Sarah, I'm getting Sarah winding Sarah up.
Leave
Wait.
Sarah alone.
We could all emerge on Pluckley for a weekend, is it?
Oh, that'd be good,
Because I
wouldn't it?
think it's got to be in the middle, because who's the furthest north? It would be
My brother-in-law has got a pub in Pembridge, which is also very haunted.
Where's Pembridge?
Gloucestershire.
Well, I'm thinking is Mark's in Scarborough? He's the furthest north, isn't he?
Yeah.
So and Ian's the furthest south. So it'd have to be whatever's.
I'm in the
right
middle.
space.
I'm in the middle.
I'm the
Yeah.
furthest east.
It's me.
What?
It's me. St John's. Yeah, we go to St John's.
Right, we'll go to your house, Tim. I'll bring some ghosts and places I've been doing.
All right then.
So it looks like we might be going to St John's.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Was it St Catherine's, isn't it? St Catherine's, is that near you?
No, St John's graveyard.
Well, you could have come to the Red Lion in Colchester.
Where's St Catherine's?
Don't know. I haven't
That's
heard
not
of that
my
one, Viv.
We'll have to.
Don't know.
We'll have to do that, and maybe do one for everybody else that wants to come out, and we'll go and stay at Pendle Hill. I know Dan loves
Yeah,
that place.
that would be good.
Pendle Hill's lovely. It's beautiful, Pendle Hill.
Yeah, let's go there.
Beautiful. Love Pendle. Stunning.
So,
We go camping at Cannock Chase.
Bagsy, I'll dress up like a werewolf.
Right in the middle of Castle
You
Ring.
know what happened? I'll dress up like a werewolf and they get bummed by the werewolf.
Yeah.
Oh, she's very pretty. Oh dear.
When I stood cat on it.
Right, so let's discuss what's coming up on the Simply Spooky Network this week. So tomorrow night, Dan and I will be back with Eric, and our guest is the medium and extraordinaire that is Ryan Griffith,
Lovely,
They
lovely
will-
fella.
telling us what he's been up to. Dan, Tim, what you got going tomorrow?
We're doing Thursday. We're doing Fairy Forts and the Wrath. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's
That'd be cool. That
interesting.
was one of Tim's
I
choice.
am going to
Good choice.
Dan. Do you
Yes,
know
mate.
Pat Noon? Do you know you heard of Pat Noon?
Yes,
I've
the Irish fella.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've messaged him to see if he'll come and have a chat because he's. I don't know how much you know, but he's a farmer and he's got quite a lot of. Land
He
on
has. He's got
Yeah, yeah.
fairy faults and fairy. Yeah, he's got them all over his
Yeah.
land, hasn't he?
I've
That'd
messaged
be
him
good.
to see if he'll come on the show, but I don't know.
He's an
But that
interesting
would be-
fella.
That
He's
would
an
be good.
interesting fella.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then
that-
Friday with Ian. What's going on Friday night? Do you want to tell us?
We're talking about gin.
Ooh,
What are you talking about?
And not the
Gin.
bottle.
What's he talking about? Sorry, what are you talking about, Tim? Ian?
We are talking about gins.
Ooh.
pig gin's quite nice.
Interesting.
Knowing the rabbit holes we go down, we could probably end up talking about that. But there you go. We ended up on food
honest,
one week. I don't know how we got there.
To be honest, I think that's one of the most scariest entities you could ever come in contact with.
Yeah, they terrify me.
Devils and everything else that people go on about. Gin really does frighten me.
Yeah.
That's quite a terrifying idea, isn't it?
There's so many things based off of them, isn't there? Like the
gin. Yeah. They make me they make me very nervous, to be honest with you. It's pretty interesting. Every Friday night, Catherine.
And then on Mondays we have the Dark Mirror. What's happening in the Dark Mirror that's coming Monday?
We don't know, because we have to. What we do throughout the week now is we are looking at all the latest reports and things, and then we sort of do little updates. Like last night, we were discussing the stupidity that was this second moon. I can't even read that.
You are Peter Pettigrew. Right, well, I'm going to read it. Go on. Viv can be Dolores Umbridge, Dan Professor
Moodley,
Tim as Rebus Dumbledore, Ian as Snape, and Wayne as Peter Pettigrew.
I already have an alter ego. It's called I can't even remember what her name was now.
I know who you're on about, though.
Yeah,
Pretty
Violet
girl.
LeBonc. Violet LeBonc.
That's her.
She might make a reappearance for Christmas. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
So Wayne, you were saying, sorry, we interrupted you.
We had last night. We were talking about this second moon business that people have been talking about, and we literally had to lay it to rest because the second moon is only 37 miles across, and it's not big enough. It's going to be further out of Earth's orbit to not even be able to be seen by the naked eye. So we had to put that one to rest, and then we looked into this so-called space armada that was heading towards Earth that the James Webb Telescope had picked up, and we sort of then went down the hole of saying, well, this is because of social media.
Ooh.
Social media get a story, they get a theory, and then they jump on it. But scientists have not even backed up the claim that there is anything being picked up by the James Webb Telescope heading towards Earth.
Really? They said that?
On the news,
Yeah.
That's a bloody great thing, isn't it?
ITV News was reports that there was a meteorite coming into our orbit, and then we
It
would
doesn't move like a meteorite,
Yes,
does it?
this is the second moon. It's an asteroid that's come into, which comes through our solar system anyway.
Yeah.
And it arrived Sunday evening, but it is literally 37 miles across. Its orbit is actually further out than the moon is. Now, the moon is something like 308,000 miles across.
What's the one? Is that the one they said slowed down and stopped and then carried on again?
No, that what there was one that had course corrected,
Right.
but now they're saying that was because it hit another asteroid.
Okay. You never know.
So
Never get the truth with them, would you?
It bounced off. And then the other one was a few years back, 2017, Oumuamua, where it went round the sun. It came into our solar system, went round the sun, and as it came back round the other side, it all of a sudden, without no notice, sped up and shot out of our solar system.
Ooh.
And they reckon that defied all knowledge of all type of physics going, because it should have sped up as it was going round the sun, not after it had gone round the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold your chips. That's a
Yeah.
haunted spaceship.
It was haunted shit.
Yeah, we're talking
So-
about haunted ships.
So, yeah.
Oh, and I just say, Dan,
this strange armada coming into our solar
Well, there you
system,
go.
they could be haunted. You never
there
know.
you go.
Yeah.
Dan, you've got 5 minutes to talk about your haunted shits because that's what you come on here to talk about.
Well, I've always said that when I go over to the other side and I do come back as a spirit or a ghost, I am going to be doing haunted shits in people's mouths that I don't like. I'm going to be getting into their bedrooms, and when they're snoring, they take that breath in. I'm going to bend over, pull me phantom trousers down, do a big phantom plop in their mouths.
Lovely.
I'm going to do phantom farts and then pull the bed sheets over their head. It's going to be like a ghostly Dutch oven. All of that type of thing going on.
That's
All
why
of that
people
stuff
wake
going on.
up in the morning with bad breath.
Yes.
Exactly.
You could be the new Freddy Krueger.
Oh,
That's good. That's
God.
good. That'd be good. That'd be perfect.
Oh, you're dreaming? I'm going to shit in your mouth.
Hey.
Oh dear.
Oh, no, they're terrible, aren't they, Tim?
Oh.
That's why you should go to bed with a face mask on.
What's that Chantel says?
Oh, I will do when he passes over.
Yeah.
We can't get back to the moon, but can send a telescope far, far out there to see what's that man-made like the other planets to find them. Yeah, I know. It defies. It's like they're talking to idiots.
We debunked that last night as well.
If they picked up an echo going around the world, they got it wrong. It was me shouting.
I love it, Nettie.
Shouting at Bright. Earth gets the second moon in 2024. Imagine telling someone that like 20 years ago they would shit their pants and I'd be laughing. Do you know what?
thing
You
is-
are right. But you know what? You go back further and further, and it seems they know more about the celestial body than we know today.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is with that is like we said, you're not going to be able to see it with the human eye. So
No.
no one would have known it was going to be there if
No.
it wasn't for things
No.
like the telescope. So we would have just carried on regardless.
I told you, Catherine, we're more alike, you and I, than we care to admit.
Yeah.
Night, Nicola. Was my
Night.
talk about celestial poo putting you off? Hi, Noreen.
Right. We are over our time, but I think we should wrap this up. But before we do, we have one job that I haven't done,
Is
and
that
I'm
pick
going
a
to
thing for next week?
get Ian to pick it.
Yeah, get you there.
Ian, tell me when to stop.
Thanks, Rita.
Now.
I have
Good point,
two.
Sarah.
Oh,
Number,
It would probably
number two.
affect the time.
Number one. Number two.
Number two. Especially as Dan was talking about number twos. There you go.
Number two. Have a two.
Keep with the same theme.
Hazel sitting across the room, from me thinking, "Why the fuck did I marry him?"
Eric, if you're watching, you're
Hey,
Ah.
Irish folklore.
Irish folklore.
There
that's
you go.
what we're talking about, really. But there we are.
To be sure.
It's
To be
the
sure.
shocker. I
What's
think
the
the second
crap?
one is actually the tech team going out and change the batteries and the lights. That was Chantel.
Yeah.
Sarah said, "Good point. Would the second moon affect the tides?" Good point.
Yeah.
It's still less fucked up than what I want to do for my funeral.
Oh, dear.
Eric's put his thumbs up.
Well, we still want to learn how to write.
No,
No, it wouldn't, Sarah. It's too far out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about shit. Now I know why I come on here.
We love you, William. Right, so not necessarily us, but Eric will be back next week talking about Irish folklore on the Things Network. So good luck with that one, Eric. Do your
Next week, by the
homework.
way. Sorry.
Next
No.
week. Oh, I haven't got my list here.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, when I told Dan we were talking about ghost ships, he couldn't resist.
No. It was temptation
So-
too far.
Let me see who's on next week.
Was it temptation or persuasion?
A bit of both, I think, wasn't it? I was the arm was behind my back, wasn't it?
So next week is Eric, Josh, Bry, Dan. Dan, you're on next week. And Jamie.
I'm terrible for it. Terrible for it, Sarah. Jamie, he don't even know he don't even know what his name is.
And he's a Scouser. What would he know about Irish folklore?
Well, yeah.
It'd be fun.
Well, mug an old lady and nick a bike, but that's about it, being a Scouser.
Right, we're going to end it here. I'm going to say good night now. So, guys, you want to say good night to everybody in the chat? Thank you for coming on, by the way, and supporting us.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Toodles.
Toodles.